exactly. I can't wait to see what's to come. So that is awesome to hear that you are. We have some super fans in our Discord of Star Wars. So yeah, they'll be happy to hear that we have another one in you. So
Yeah, and look, like Star Wars is kind of on the top of my list for comics properties to get given the keys to. So,
really, so you
yeah,
want to write Star
I
Wars?
would love to write a Star. Who wouldn't love to write a Star War? Like, come on!
Wow, would you?
I don't
Oh
need
my
to write all the Star Wars. Just give me one Star War to write. Just one more.
goodness. Well, you know what? You're putting it out there, so who knows? Maybe we will see a David Hazan Star Wars story. You never know.
I sure hope so. Um, yeah, I'm not usually one to be like, I want to write this particular big two property, but Star Wars just has that special place in my heart.
Absolutely. So do you yourself collect comics at all?
Look, since I'm a very recent convert to the world of comics, so I don't say I don't collect a lot. I think I find reading digitally is a lot easier for me, especially since I just moved into state. Like, not having an insane collection to ship has been great. Um, that being said, there are some books which I just need to have physically and will happily buy single issues for. And
Okay.
it's usually whatever Tom King is doing is usually number one.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Number two is whatever Kieran Gillen is doing. And especially Die, those books are just like that. Stephanie Hahn's art is just so next level beautiful. Like this like painted style that I just can't get enough of that.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I was mostly a big two, and I recently just started diving into indie books, and so yeah, I'm finding it quite a journey and interesting to see that type of comic book writing, yours included.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a big tonal shift, and I think the tonal shift also is a lot to do with the art because I think the big two have a certain look and style sheet that they want to maintain, and it's very rare that big two books that are in continuity really get that chance to artistically breathe beyond like what the current superhero comics look like.
Yeah.
But that's why I love the kind of out of continuity like 12 issue series that get to really uh, play with form and the art and yeah. Uh, Great example is Martian Manhunter, the Steve Orlando Riley Rossmo Martian Manhunter, which lasted 12 issues and that was just phenomenal. There were some of those two-page spreads with like gloriously wild layouts, and I was totally in for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the Nottingham is 5 issues, is that right?
That's correct. 5 issues.
Let me ask you, not to spoil anything, if you could do more, would you have spread it out more? Like if you could have done like 12 issues, would you have been on board with that?
I'm not sure I can answer this question. um,
Hypothetically, if you could.
I will say this. When you get given a number of issues to work to, you work to that number of issues. Um, the story ends in a place where we can pick up and keep going if we need to. But it is quite a conclusive ending.
Okay.
But there's no real great cliffhangers. It's like really works well as a self-contained 5 issue miniseries. However, there is room to move. Um, and I think you can intuit what will happen if, we keep selling like we're doing. So uh, the answer to is there more is in the hands of our dear viewers, I think.
Well, I think we've spoken. You know, we got print after print after print coming out. So I want to say there's more. Then I'm looking forward to that.
I
Um,
can neither confirm nor deny that.
do you have any other comics in the works?
I have a couple of things in the works, not much that I can talk about at the moment. I've got another thing that I'm working on with Mad Cave, um, which is probably coming sometime next year. It's hard to tell with these things. And, with comics, it's always like, until it's real, you don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And by real, I mean finished, because there are so many roadblocks along the way. Um, because it's such a collaborative process. That being said, I've got an 8-page story coming in an anthology from an Australian publisher called Gestalt Publishing. They're doing a sci-fi anthology called Axiom, which is hopefully coming end of this year, early next year, I think is the plan. I'm not sure whether that's changed or not. But that'll have stories from top Australian writers with top Australian artists. So uh, I will be spruiking all of that when it comes out. I will say my story is fun, and finally getting to do a sci-fi story that gets published was really gratifying. And it is something that Star Wars fans will hopefully love.
Oh my goodness. Oh yes, something to look forward to. Uh, sci-fi. So this story is part of a anthology, the one that you're
Yeah,
speaking about.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other projects outside of comics, like a novel?
Not at the moment. I'm always one of those people who's working on things that will never see the light of day in terms of prose. So like
Oh.
I'll be working on 3 different novels that nobody will ever read other than me. But and sometimes I'll be like, what if I just did this in comics? But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. So you said you're recently into comics. Have you ever thought about creating your own character? Was there a character you ever thought about making up in your stories?
Oh, there's so many, but I can't talk about any of
Oh,
it. Yeah, no, I have a lot of things in the works, which is stuff that is like creator-owned stuff that I've really been working hard on. And I do also kind of see like our version of the sheriff as something that like is unique to us. I don't think anybody's really had that kind of a take on that character, and we've given him his own name and his own backstory, and I think uh, Ev is very much a creation of Shane and myself. I don't see he doesn't really come from for the most part from the Robin Hood lore, and if we get to tell more story, there'll be more to that backstory, which will I guess shed a light on uh, why I think history has treated that character so badly. But I don't want to spoil that one. But
okay.
there has been a lot of thought gone into how we did our sheriff. Um, so yeah, you know, he's to me he's like the first character that I've created that I've seen published. Um,
Fair enough.
there is more coming, a lot more coming. Cannot speak to any of it. Really wish I was at a point where I could. Uh, but that's just the nature of comics, unfortunately. And happy to come back if you'll have me back and talk about those things when I can, when they've
Oh
been
my gosh.
announced. But yeah,
Absolutely. So when you do kind of get the green light, how do you let your how do you let us know that something's about to come out or in the works for
yeah.
the green light?
So when things get announced, whatever publisher they're with will do an announcement, and I will inevitably share that announcement. The best place to find me is on Twitter at David T Hazan. That's T, the letter T, and then Hazan, Hazan, for those who don't like to read, but I assume you all like to read considering we're talking comics. Yeah, so that's the best place to find where I'm at on pretty much on a day-to-day basis, because that's the kind of access that social media has into our lives. And, it's a good 60% me just being an idiot on the internet and 40% me being serious about comics. So hopefully that'll give you a bit of insight into my psyche, maybe more than you'd hoped. I don't know. But otherwise, www.davidhazan.com is my website, and hopefully in the latter half of this year, once we've wrapped up on our 5 issues of Nottingham, I will be making some more stuff to just kind of hand out for free there. And maybe, like, I want to make enough so that I can um, put together an anthology of all those stories. That'd be nice, but we'll see where we get to considering my workload in the next year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. Thank you. It was a pleasure to get to speak to you, and we'll make sure that we have those links in the description so that we can be on the lookout for what's to come. It's very exciting, and I'm so happy for you, and
Thank you very
I
much.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you about it.
No problem. I guess before I go, I'm not sure when you'll be putting this up, but before I go, next week, the 12th of May, is Nottingham #3. And also, well, I guess it'll be, by the time this goes up, it'll be this week probably. But also on the 12th of May is Nottingham #2's second printing.
Okay.
And on the 19th of May is Nottingham #1's third printing. So call your store immediately. These things sell out. I want everyone who wants one to get one. So I can't stress enough, call your store, ask them. If not, if you prefer digital, best place to go is Man Cave Studios website. You'll be able to subscribe to the digital series for $20, and they'll send you the physical trade as well at the end. It's a pretty great deal.
Wow, really? You'll
Yeah,
get the wow. Okay.
yeah. So it's like $19.99. You get each digital single issue as it comes out, and then you'll get sent out the physical trade when that comes out.
That's a
So
great
yeah,
deal. Oh my goodness. Thank you
it's
for
a pretty
sharing that.
phenomenal deal.
Yeah, a lot of the pre-orders, because I went directly to the Mad Cave, but it's like out of stock, out of stock. So even the pre-orders are already
Yeah,
done for some of them. So yeah, the best bet is now to try and snag one at your local comic shop. So
yeah. So, and also we should be supporting our local stores, especially at the moment. So if you can get into a store safely, please do, and pick up a copy of Nottingham and whatever else you like. Make sure you support those local stores because they support you.
absolutely. Well, I think that the word has officially gotten out, David. So I think people are going to be on the lookout for that book, especially since the first print of issue #1 is so hard to get. Even issue #2, it's, kind of just caught fire. So I think you have our attention now.
Yeah, look, the response has been absolutely wild, beyond my best hopes, and I think beyond everyone at Mad Cave's best hope for this book. So we're pretty thrilled and excited about everyone finally getting their hands on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope, I'm one of the ones that had to do it digital. I do not have a physical copy. So I put in my pre-order. I actually just sub to it. It's like, hey, whatever issues are left coming out, can I please be sub to it so I can get some physical copies in my hands? So
Yeah.
hopefully I will.
Yeah. I've like, it's been a year, so, well, it's been over a year now since I finished writing this. So it's been pretty wild to have this sort of like delayed reaction to it where it's like so far in my rearview mirror and everybody else is like, "Ooh, what happens next?" I'm like, "Oh, what happens in this issue? I hope I don't spoil it."
Yeah,
uh,
you've been pretty good about tiptoeing, and I can't get any more information out of you, but I can imagine sitting on that for a whole year. Wow.
Yeah, look, I think the tiptoeing is the lawyer in me who's very careful about what he says, even though like I'm the same as everybody else. I just want to get excited about comics with everybody else, and I'm like the worst at really wanting to like talk to people about what I'm working on, and I have to restrain myself a lot of the time. And you'll like if you ask any of my writer friends, they're just like, I constantly talk about stuff with them. That's how I've tried to limit it. That's the maximal extent of my spoiler discussion.
Yeah, so you're sure there's nothing else you can share? Anything about issue 3 that you can share?
All right. What I will say about issue 3 is that we get two more characters who have their first introduction who will be familiar to anybody who's familiar with the Robin Hood legends. Um, and uh, obviously the way they will appear is going to surprise you, and their kind of entanglements and relationships with all the other characters is what's going to really surprise you. And I hope you enjoy issue 3.
Oh,
Um, yeah. It's
well,
sad, by the way. It's going to be real
oh,
sad.
uh-oh, uh-oh.
Like the other two haven't been, but
Wow.
it's gonna be pretty sad.
Okay, well, you have prepared me, and I am looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that we can have you back so that we can probably discuss the
Absolutely.
when you can talk when you are allowed to speak freely about it. So
Yeah, definitely.
awesome. Well, I much continued success. I wish for you, and again, it was a pleasure to be able to speak with you today.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Take care, David.